This is a cricket podcast.
Tim Southee will be the successor for Kane Williamson, not Tom Latham.
Two mates obsessed with the game,
SuperSmash! Love the SuperSmash.
covering all the on-field action.
Henry Shipley took the most wickets last season, but he's also been called up for international duties.
Yeah. This is the Back of a Length podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Back of a Length as we head into Christmas. Mariki, Mark.
Christmas time, cricket and wine.
Oh, that was delightful.
Children singing.
Baseball. Well, we went opposite just then.
We did, yeah. Well, I was going to sing baseball, but then before we started this episode, you did a really bad impression of me, which I think you should do right now.
It was just that. It was just baseball.
But in like the deepest voice you could put on.
Baseball.
Yeah, which isn't very deep. But yeah, baseball is absolutely flying. England, as we speak, have just completed a whitewash of Pakistan in Pakistan. First team ever to win a series 3-0 in Pakistan. That is incredible.
It is incredible, and I mean, we just ignore the fact that there has been no international cricket in Pakistan for 17 years.
Yes, there was. Australia were over there.
Before this year.
Oh, okay, before this year, right, okay. Basically, what we're getting from this is that England are better than Australia. England are going to win the Ashes in June, July, whenever it is next year. And we're going to go and win the next cycle of the World Test Championship. Baseball.
You know what, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. You are better than Australia. I know, you're better than Australia. You're better than, you're going to beat them in the Ashes.
Yeah.
And I mean, New Zealand looks like they're out of the World Test Championship, so I'd rather back England than anyone else.
Oh, England are already out of the World Test Championship as well.
Oh, well, this is just...
So it's Australia, India in the final, but I was talking about the next cycle.
Oh, the next cycle. The next cycle is up for grabs, but before we go there, and still in Pakistan, New Zealand will start their Test series this weekend on Boxing Day, 6 p.m. New Zealand time, and a massive change for New Zealand.
Yeah, Kane Williamson stepped down as captain. I put that in inverted commas because there is a little bit of a theory out there that maybe he was asked to leave before being pushed. Interesting decision. What are your thoughts?
Well, I find it very interesting because I still think Tests are Kane Williamson's better format, and I actually wondered whether he would do the flip side and you'd see someone else come in for the ODIs and the T20s. Of course, New Zealand will do an ODI series in Pakistan and then ODIs and T20s in India next after this Test series. So I was surprised that it was a Test captaincy, in saying that he hasn't captained really in the past year apart from those 3 in England. Tom Latham did take the reins across the previous New Zealand summer. I think it was going to happen at the end of the season.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's happened now.
Yeah, I guess going back to what you just said with regards to the World Test Championship, you guys not having a chance, you might as well do it now.
That is true.
Give Tim Southee a couple of series to bed in as captain. He knows the team anyway, like he's been around for a long time, but give him an opportunity to put his stamp on the Test team and shape it how he wants to shape it, and then you'll be going all guns for the next Test Championship cycle. I do agree that I thought it'd be 50 over on ODI and T20s as well, but Tests, he hasn't really featured that prominently. With his injury issues, can he still, do a 4-5 Test match series in the short spaces of times that we see these days? I mean, England have been in Pakistan for 2 weeks and played 3 Test matches. Thankfully, baseball is an absolute hit because they're all over in 3 days. But yeah, surprised that he stepped down as Test captain, but also not a surprise as well, I guess, if that makes sense. But I'll be very interested to see how your DRS success percentage goes with Tim Southee in charge.
Well, I was about to ask, Tim Southee will be the successor for Kane Williamson, not Tom Latham. I'm actually really glad about this because I think that Tom Latham is very same with Kane Williamson. It is that same almost thought process, and to me, looking at this team for the past year, they've needed a bowler in charge because they lost to Bangladesh and South Africa in New Zealand last season because they just couldn't bowl them out, and it's like their bowling changes weren't working. They didn't have the guts to do anything differently, and then again they got stuck in England with the bowling as well. So I'm quite glad to have a bowler in charge. I actually didn't think New Zealand cricket had the guts to do it.
It's an interesting one because you do wonder how much Tim Southee is going to put pressure on himself as captain. If you're not getting a wicket, is Tim Southee going to be like, right, okay, give me the ball, I'll have a 3 or 4 over burst? Is that going to be something that's sustainable for him sort of long term? Or is he going to be able to look at it objectively and go, right, yes, I am captain, but I'm not the best player to get a wicket on. Yes, I need to lead from the front, but I need to let my decision-making lead from the front as opposed to my actual bowling. And I think, as much as I harp on about England, I think that's where Ben Stokes is doing really well with Bazball at the moment, because his bowling decisions, he makes the right bowling changes at the right time. He knows when to bring himself on. He knows when to bring somebody else on instead of him. And I think, Tim Southee, I don't really know how it's going to go. I'm going to have to wait and see on this one, to be honest. Jury is out for me personally at the moment. What will be interesting, I guess the squad has already been named for the Test series, but it'll be interesting to see what he does long term with that squad.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that squad now. So we have Southee in as captain, and then we have Bracewell back in the Test team, Blundell with the wicket-keeping gloves, Conway, Henry, Latham, Mitchell, Nichols, Patel, Phillips, Sodhi, Tickner, Wagner, Williamson, and Will Young on for a maiden Test century.
Not Mill Waden, for anyone who's wondering, or whatever it was that I called him last week.
Mill Waden. So looking at that lineup, it more or less it picks itself. I was sort of thinking, how would I play this team? So obviously you have Latham at the top with Will Young there. In at 3 you should have Williamson. 4 will be Conway. 5 Nichols will get a go. I think they might as well stick with Henry Nichols. He is a good Test player and he's been playing very well in the Plunket Shield. In at 6 I would go Daryl Mitchell.
Okay.
Big fan of Darren Mitchell. 7, obviously, Tom Blundell with those wicket-keeping gloves. 8, Ish Sodhi. I think I'd like to see him there. 9, I'll let them choose between Wags and Patel.
Yeah.
Depending on the pitch. And then 10, Southee. And I'd go 11, Matt Henry.
Yeah, I think that Wagner should play every game.
I mean,
and the reason I say this from watching the England series is that on dead pitches, Pakistan really struggled with the ball that was banged in down the leg side, and they were gloving it back to the keeper and stuff, and that's Wagner's forte. That's what he's made his Black Caps career on. So when the spinners aren't doing anything, when you pace bowlers with Southee or Matt Henry, don't know why I had Adam Milne in my head.
I always have Adam Milne in my head.
Matt Henry's struggling, Tim Southee's struggling, you give the ball to Wagner, he'll do something different with it. I do wonder as well though whether Glenn Phillips might get a go, or Michael Bracewell, from the perspective of if Henry Nichols, you have to get a result in Pakistan. The pitches that we've seen are really dead. If you want to progress the game forward, which I think Tim Southee might be good as captain at doing, do you pick somebody like Bracewell or Glenn Phillips to go in at 5 and go, right, okay, do you know what, we're 30 for 3 for example, go in, try and counter attack, or we're 200 for 3, go in, score us a quick 50, 70 or whatever off 30 balls, for example. Just progress the game. And with those two as well, you also have a third spinning option, so you could look at playing the likes of Patel, maybe not play Sodhi, and then you'll have 3 seamers and 2 spinners, so that balance of the team works a little bit better. That
was what I was going to say, is if you did bring in either Bracewell or Phillips, you would have the spin option, because with Mitchell you do have the sort of medium pace over, but he hasn't been bowling a lot lately.
He hasn't, so I guess it would be between Nichols and between Mitchell. But I think Mitchell has had such a good run of form over the last 12 to 18 months. You can't really drop him at the moment. No, I think Mitchell would be a shoe, and I think it would be between Nichols and Bracewell if they were gonna bring that person in. I think you have to bat deep in Pakistan though. You do, yeah. But you've got Wagner going in at 9, you've got Southee going in at 10. Southee's no mug with the bat, or you probably have Southee going in 9 because he's captain, so he'll put himself up the order a little bit. And Wagner going in 10. Those two can bat and can hold up an end for a batsman. For the likes of, if Michael Bracewell's there batting with the tail, he can go in and score some quick runs. So I guess that's the other option. You could have everyone moving up 1, so you'd have Conway in at 4, you'd have Mitchell in at 5, Blundell at 6, and then you'd have either Phillips or Bracewell in at 7 to score quick runs with the tail there at the end. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. Thank you. I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to give you that one. All right, that game starts, as we said, on Boxing Day, the 26th, 6 p.m. New Zealand time. Before we move on, let's just take... That'll be quite a few beers deep there, right? Yeah, we will be. Let's just take a moment to talk about the Kane Williamson captaincy record as he hangs up his baggie. We've got 40 Test matches he was captain, 22 wins, 10 losses, 8 draws, 3,331 runs, a high score of 251, 11 hundreds, and 1 Test wicket. Underbowled himself, but I guess he did have the elbow issues. Surprising for me that he had only 40 tests as captain. It feels like he's been around forever as captain.
Yeah, I guess that just shows how little Test New Zealand really plays.
I'm glad you picked up on that. That's exactly what I was going
And also, it does feel like we have Test series every year or every season, of course, but so often our Test series are 2-match Test series, and I am the biggest advocate for 3-match Test series. What is the point of a 2-match Test series?
There is no point.
I hate it.
There is no point.
ICC, get us a 3-match Test series.
If you want to save Test cricket, which they're not, they should put a lot more Test series involved, because you look at it and you think, right, okay, well, Australia and England and India play the 3 most Test matches, so they've got more chance of making the World Test Championship final, because on the basis of an aggregate, you're likely to win more games, which is why I think they now have that points tally system. So you get like a percentage of your wins, gives you so many points or whatever, but just give people more Test cricket. Why can't New Zealand go over and play a 3 Test match series in Bangladesh? Why can't they go over to the West Indies and play a 4-match Test series? There's no reason why they can't do that. Absolutely none whatsoever.
No,
I can understand it back in the day when the Black Caps weren't that great, but over the last 7 or 8 years, since 2015, the Black Caps have been one of the best Test teams, and there is therefore no reason why they should not have Test matches.
I think you'll find we're the current World Test champions.
You are the current World Test champions. There's a point. You're not number 1 anymore, but you know.
We've got the mace. I've held it. No, I've seen it. I've seen it in real life.
Have you held it?
No, I haven't held it. You're not allowed to hold it.
Oh, that's a shame.
Dirty fingers. No, but we have seen the mace on display. Right, I know we've just harped on about Test cricket for 10 minutes and how much we love it, but we're going to switch gears and go back to T20 cricket because the Super Smash is back this week.
Super Smash!
Love the Super Smash. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I don't think you had enough so's in there.
Oh,
I don't
so
think you've
excited.
told people how so excited you are.
I'm so excited. So it all comes back on Friday this week with the Northern and Canterbury games. So let's take a quick look back through what happened last season and see, will there be any changes? Can we make any predictions?
Yeah, Auckland were awful. Otago were awful.
That's right.
3 best teams were Wellington and Canterbury and Northern. Northern and Canterbury making the final there, with Northern coming out on top, led by Jeet Raval.
Yes.
Which, do you know what's a surprise to me? A T20 side led by Jeet Raval, who you'll recall over the last couple of years ago, he was Test match obdurate opener. Yeah, Northern. Do you know what? You look at the Northern team and take away, bring in the Black Caps that aren't ordinarily overseas or having a Test match series or whatever. They've got such a stacked team.
They do.
They've got so many good players. They had Ish Sodhi, you've got Kane Williamson, Trent Bolt, Tim Southey, Neil Wagner. Like, that's an unbelievable 5.
It is an unbelievable 5, although Ish Sodhi did actually skip down the country last season and now plays for Canterbury.
Oh, he does. Yes, he does.
That's a bit rude. But yes, he was a Northern man for a very, very long time. They also had a number of fringe Black Caps around that team. Brent Hampton's been around for a long time. And of course, they had the wonderful newcomer, Kartine Clark.
I love Kartine Clark.
I love Kartine Clark.
He's such a good player. I'm surprised he's not yet in the Black Caps
They'll get these
ODI squad.
I was going to say, let's have a look at the stats from last season because Michael Bracewell was the top scorer, but he will be away on international duties.
Yeah.
Obviously for the Test squad and then that ODI squad that will play in Pakistan as well. So there is a spot for the men's top scorer, and Kartine Clark might be in with a shout.
Yeah, I'm gonna back George Worker.
Oh, that's a.
And I know that's a ballsy one
That's
because
ballsy.
we expected in the last Super Smash season, after him having a couple of good seasons for Central Districts, that he was going to score a lot of runs. And then we saw him batting in the nets, and he got bowled a couple of times when we went to one of the games, and then he got bowled in the game. And
I think he spooked him.
He flattered to deceive last season. But he had such a great first-class season. It was just the Super Smash that he couldn't transfer that form to. So yeah, this year I'm going to go for George Worker, just because I need Auckland to win, because they were bloody awful last year.
They were. Okay, my heart says Kartine Clark, but my head says Dane Cleaver.
Oh, Dane Cleaver, yeah, that's a good shout.
Good. And he was on point to take that top scoring position, but Michael Bracewell came through with that 140 in Pukakura Park, which really elevated him. We will also see Finn Allen for the first half of it, but then we'll also go into international duties a bit later. So unless Finn Allen wants to go top scoring in half a season, which he'd have it in him.
That'd be a pretty
amazing.
Pretty good few games to watch there for Wellington if he does.
It will be. All right, let's talk bowlers, because Henry Shipley took the most wickets last season, but he's also been called up for international duties, going to Pakistan as part of the ODI squad for the first time. Side note.
Yes.
I said after last Super Smash that Henry Shipley is going to be an international. He's going to be a superstar.
Yeah.
And do you know who disagreed with me?
Me?
You and Mitchell McClenaghan. And Henry Shipley is in the Black Cap squad, so Mitchell McClenaghan...
Screw you!
I know my stuff.
Good call.
He did say that Henry Shipley would have to get his pace up, so it will be interesting if Henry Shipley has managed to put a bit more speed onto that ball. But we've got a spot for top wicket taker.
Top wicket taker. I feel like my biasness for Auckland's going to come through again, but I do think that Adi Ashok's going to have a big season.
Oh, Adi Ashok, he is.
Do think he's going to have a big season.
He's feature star.
Made his debut last year, got a few wickets, learned his craft. I just think with the amount of bowlers that are going to be coming and going over the Test match squad and then the ODI squad that are going to Pakistan, he is unlikely to make any of those squads at the moment. So he's going to be a constant bowler, a good frontline bowler who should pick up a lot of wickets and play all games. So I'm going to back Adi Ashok.
I will give you one guess who I'm going to back. Who could it be? Ooh.
Mr. Claxon himself.
Yes, so just a reminder that if you hear this noise, that is the Michael Rippon Claxton, and every time I say Michael Rippon, that noise will play, because I'm going to back Michael Rippon, and I'm going to talk about Michael Rippon for the whole Super Smash.
And how many times can you get Michael Rippon into a sentence?
I want to say something though.
Yeah.
I've been looking at some of the promos for the Super Smash, and I'm genuinely worried that Michael Rippon won't go best here in the Super Smash 7 seasons in a row, because I think he's had a little haircut.
That's unfortunate.
I think it could be on the line here.
Who do you think will have the best haircut in the Super Smash then?
Well, he got a run for his money with, was it Troy Johnson from Wellington with the lovely flowing locks? Yes. He had good hair. And I'm also a fan of Ed Nuttall down in Canterbury. He's just got very classic, good-looking hair.
Just a
good stock standard
head
of hair. I'm also a fan of Peter Younghusband on Wellington, little spinner there.
Are you going to do... Is it going to be a thing where you do a Super Smash Best Hair 11 every season?
Well, the thing with the Super Smash Best Hair 11, it relies on having 11 best hairs in the Super Smash. Yeah, and last season I was only a fan of 5 of them. And one of them was Michael Rippon, so...
Yeah, so were the other 4 as well, I imagine.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so that is the men's tournament, and let's quickly talk about the women.
Yep.
Because the women will play their games on the same day as the men, and we love women's cricket here. This will be the last chance to see the women before they go to the T20 World Cup in South Africa. Now that is due to start in around the 10th of February. I expect they will have a week or two of pre-tournament games and features and whatnot, so we should get in about 2/3 of the Super Smash with those women. Now Susie Bates was the top run scorer last year. She could do it again.
I think she's in a good place to do it again. She's been in decent form from what we've seen so far in that ODI series against Bangladesh. And yeah, you'd say that if she gets a couple of hundreds like she did last season at the start, it's pretty hard to pip her.
It is pretty hard, although I've been very impressed with Maddie Green these last few games. So I'm almost going to back Maddie Green, captain of the Wellington Blaze. I'm
going to go Sophie Devine.
Oh, we love Wellington here.
I think, I know. I just think that, what'll be interesting, and I would like to know this from a professional cricketer's perspective. If you're playing your first class games before an international tournament where you go away with your teammates, did they get together in the Bangladesh series and go, right, okay, such and such, or we'll get together as a batting group, and we're expecting that we'll be picked. So you got Sophie Devine, Susie Bates, Maddie Green, 3 of them sit down. Whoever is the lowest run scorer buys dinner on the first night when we get to South Africa. Do you reckon that's a thing?
I don't know. You'd have to ask.
Oh,
that's not where I thought that story was going.
No,
I thought it was going to be about game tactics, but it's no.
God,
Who's getting the round of pizzas?
You've got coaches for that.
God.
Don't need you batting people to get involved. Just let them focus on scoring runs and eating good pizzas.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's talk about the bowlers. Top wicket taker for the women was Lee Casbrick, who cannot get a sniff in the internationals.
Which is a surprise.
It's a surprise.
Again, given that she was top wicket taker, we did cover that quite a bit last season with the Women's World Cup that was here. She probably is, if you're a betting person, probably is odds-on favourite to be top wicket taker again. But also, Leah Tahuhu has been in really good form as well. So whether she's able to get some wickets, I would imagine that she would be in the White Ferns squad going to the World Cup. But she was bowling pretty well in the Bangladesh games, so she's in good form. And again, like Susie Bates, if she can have 3 or 4 really good games first up, everyone else is playing catch up. So yeah, are you gonna go Lee Casbrick?
No, I'm gonna go a bit left field here.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go with Zara Jetley because she had figures of 4 for 1 last season.
4 for 1.
She has been in all the SuperSmash promo videos and just like getting her face out there, but she just looks so amped to play.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's about 19 years old, I think, and she's just like, I always say the words young gun, but she is just ready to play. Like, I feel like this could be her massive breakout season, and she believes that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go again, back in those Wellington ladies.
I'm excited to see some of the players that just played in the development under 19 squad getting an opportunity to come through and make their name in the SuperSmash. We talked a couple of weeks ago with Ellie about giving younger players now the opportunity over the next couple of years to make a stake in the White Fern squad. SuperSmash is a great place for them to do that. So I'm going to hopefully see some good young players coming through. I'll still back the experienced players for now, just because they've had the match experience, the game situations. So I will back Leah Tahuhu.
Alright, well, as we said, it all starts this Friday and runs for about 5 weeks. Games all across the country, so please get down and support the men, support the women. This is our domestic competition.
There is no international cricket in New Zealand until February, so you literally have no excuse.
We'll be
Tickets are really, really reasonably priced as well. I don't think I can advertise them, so I can't tell you what tickets we've got. But just go on to... I just googled SuperSmash tickets. Find out what ticket options are available. Let us know if you're going to the Auckland games, because we'll be there. And just get out and about and support domestic cricket.
Well, I will hopefully be at all the games, but Otago will play Auckland at their first home game, so I just have to check I won't get banned.
Yes.
From after talking to
Yeah, we're just waiting for that police check to come back
Yeah.
as to whether you do actually have an antisocial behaviour order from Michael Rippon. You cannot go within 500 metres of the man. Shame.
Okay, let's finish off with our first 11 of the week. Okay, so I thought it's Christmas time, the Christmas trees are up, everyone's singing about holly, the trees outside are full of green leaves and it's all beautiful and whatnot. So I thought, let's go for our first 11 of Flora.
Okay. Flora as in the butter or floral as in the flower?
How do you think I would make a first 11 about butter?
What is Flora? Flora's the butter, isn't it floral?
First 11 of dairy.
Oh, that's a new one. That's an interesting one.
Okay, we'll work on that one this season. But first 11 of Flora, so this is names that have to do with the great outdoors. So in at 1 we have Sean Marsh, 2 Dunroo Ferns, and at 3 Joe Root. At 4, Dominic Cork. And at 5, Basil Hamid. And at 6, Nathan Bracken. 7, Andy Flower. Our wicket keeper 8 is Josh Hazelwood. 9 is Mark Wood. Dennis Lilly is in at 10. And 11 is Ollie Stone.
Ollie Stone. Interesting. Hobart Hurricanes legend Clive Rose misses out there. He can be honorary 12th man.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing this season, which is a shame. Absolute legend. That's our first 11 of the week. That is our episode this week. Get to the SuperSmash games if you can over Christmas and New Year. Get out and support domestic cricket. Most importantly, have a safe Christmas. And follow us on the socials if you don't already.
Yes.
Twitter,
We will be there at Back of a Length on Twitter with a little underscore at Back of a Length on Instagram, and we're on Facebook as well. Instagram and Twitter will be going off with all the highlights from the games, and Twitter will be following the Black Caps over in Pakistan. So go the Black Caps, go the Auckland Aces, and go the Melbourne Renegades, who are 2 up.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened the other night. We'll skip over to Hobart Hurricanes pretty quickly. Go to Auckland Hearts as well, and we look forward to seeing some of the development under 19 ladies being able to showcase their skills.
Until next week, have a safe and happy Christmas, and we will talk to you soon.